The first gift of the Christ to us is to precede us into that area of human experience that all of us have, and that is human temptation. So after his time in the desert, where he was deeply hungry and very fragile after 40 days of fasting, he lets himself undergo this so we might not build our faith in him in a weakened or mean or bad image or sickly image. He's going to give us the strong presentation of Christ. And remember that the Christ came to reveal primarily to us, give us the understanding of who God is. On our own, we will have these human interpretations that always miss the mark. So who comes along? The word Satan is used in Scripture, and the word devil is used in Scripture. They have meanings. The word Satan comes from a meaning of sataram, which means the accuser, the false accuser, the deceitful accuser. And devil comes from diabolus, meaning the divider, the one who divides us from our true self, the one who divides us from God, the one who divides us from each other. And so the malicious accuser and the divider come and meet with the Christ. And the first beginnings of these temptations are kind of interesting. It's looked like he's weary of having tempted humanity for all this time with the usuals, power, sex, money, greed, all the usuals. And he kind of falls short. So he's trying down Jesus, not so much on his identity, because he does not believe that God would leave the beatific vision and come into human dirt, human condition. So the evil one doesn't believe that. And so he says, if you are the Son of God, and he's really challenging now the mission of Jesus, which is a mission to all of us. And the first coming is the bread trick. Now, that's not a bad thing when you first look at it. He's hungry, a stone into bread. That's not a bad thing. How you find that something evil? There's nothing evil about that. That's wonderful, miraculous power. It's the gift being used poorly, though. And because it's saying that all we do have is bread hunger. And he's trying to help us understand that the real gift of God is not bread to feed our mouths, but bread to become his body and to nourish us up for the hunger of the soul that's in us. And he's saying that reproof, that wonderful reproof, it's not by bread alone, because we hunger more than just bread. If Jesus was just a miracle worker, and that was the temptation, give the crowds lots of bread, more bread, more bread, more bread. Feed them, they'll follow you everywhere. And that's part of the mission he rejects and tells us, it's not by bread alone. It's going to be by the hunger we have for God in our lives and have that filled. So, a one-upsmanship. He takes them up and says, okay, all the kingdoms, you got them. He gives him the understanding of what makes the kingdoms at their worst part. Not their best, their worst. The worst political systems, the atrocities, the abuse of power, the dividing, the accusing that divides, and says, I'll give you all this, you worship me. I'll make this all yours. And the somber reproof again of the Christ is, since when does the world belong to you? The world my Father made all things good, including the human family, with all their weaknesses, all their sins, and I've made them good. And so my gift to them is not to become, Jesus, don't become a political leader or even a religious leader or a general. All these was the temptations that he's saying to become. Become the great emperor of the world. And, use your power any way you want. And he's saying the power of God is not that power of the nations. The power of God is love and forgiveness and peacemaking, is a real power of God. And so he rejects again and says, this whole nation belongs to the evil one. Pollution, greed, avarice, That stuff belongs to the evil one. Creation and us in it belong to God. So the last time, he tries one more time. A real assault against his mission again. And this one should come close to home to us. And he says, I'll take you to the temple. We'll drop you off. And you come floating down with the angels taking care of you. That whole temple is going to come running to you. And the city's going to come running. The world's going to come running and fall on the knees. And we're going to follow you everywhere. It'll be God's proof. The proof that God exists. If you fall off the temple, you get caught. It'll prove that God exists. And it's just like the atheist going outside on Main Street and saying, okay, God, I don't believe in you, and I'll prove you don't exist. Because if you can't strike me with a lightning bolt, that means you don't exist. You know, we hear crazy stuff like that every once in a while. And exactly what it is crazy stuff. The interesting thing that why Christ rejects us is because it is total wrong understanding of who God is. God is not up to human tricks, first of all. God's not going to be our acrobat. And He's not going to be the heavy lifter for us. He is asking us to have the understanding that there is no test for God. None. We humans would like to do that, to have proof of His existence, even a good test, we like that. And He's saying, I'm sorry, there's no test. And when misfortune falls upon us, death in the family falls on us, relationships that go sour fall upon us, painful things, illness and things, He's not going to be the trickster that enters and changes things. Rather, He's going to give us the understanding that He is not to be bargained with, because His love has been always there for us. And it is that the understanding of God, who does not test us, but invites us to be the imitators of His love, His peace, His justice, His forgiveness, that we're the imitators of that. And that is not the proof, but it is the blessing of God's presence for us. And so I think in our lives, when we say, I'll do this, God, I'll really, if I pass this test, I'll do all the stuff for you, And if you make this person love me, I'll do all this stuff for you. And if you do this for me, I'll do all this stuff for you. And I think what God is saying in the gift of Christ when He rejects this temptation, not to test God, is to say, but I'm with you all the time. I'm with you all the time. It's my love that's giving you the strength. It's my love that's giving you the hope. My love that's been with you. Imitate that, and you'll understand my presence in your life. And all will be well, and all will be well, and all will be well. So it's a great act of confidence that we're asked to have in the message and mission of the Christ, who brings us and mediates to us the awesome power of God's love and mercy. And the bargaining, don't have to do it. The bargain has been made already. I'm there for you. I am Emmanuel. God was with you. And with that understanding of faith, we promised everlasting life. Let us